Hello. I was wondering if I might trouble you for a cup of strong black coffee, and in the process engage you with an anecdote of no small amusement.
Hello, and welcome to another episode here at NerdyVerse Podcast. Sorry, I need to pick bad music to replace our intro because I just lose myself in the music and forget that there's supposed to be a podcast at the end.
Speak for yourself. I was singing Tootsie Roll in my head still.
Yes, because off the mic shenanigans. Anyway, I'm J-Dub, that's Boop, and that's a joke you're not going to get.
It's a joke you're never going to get because... friendship is the best friendship when you don't monetize it. All right, this isn't monetized.
I don't know. Unis Honest was pretty genuine, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, he did almost murder Ethan a few times. It was pretty genuine.
Monetize only the most genuine of friendships. Otherwise, keep that to yourself. Unless you're us, in which we share that with the world. And so here we are doing exactly that, talking about things we like with people we like. It's been a heck of a week, but joining us soon, I've got friends, I've got eggnog, and I've got a little bit of joy left in my heart. And so
it's me. I'm the joy.
It is, yes. And so what better to have for a Friday night podcast where I listen, I hope everyone's ready for this because really for the rest of the year, we're not talking about Star Wars.
That's true. We are not.
We're not. So beginning here and taking us through to Christmas, it's all other stuff. It's all the NerdyVerse. And so we're kicking it off with something only John wanted to talk. Well, John and Brad wanted to talk about basically. But you know, we decided to have Boop and Kev join for the fun.
Me and Kev are going to be just chatting about other things.
Shenanigans, probably. But yeah, we're taking a break for Thanksgiving, and then we are back and in getting into what some would call the Star Wars of fantasy. Okay. As we take really me on an adventure because I have not seen Lord of the Rings except probably once, and it was definitely more than 10 years ago.
Yes.
And so we decided with a big anniversary coming up for the Lord of the Rings films, it'd be a great time to dive into that world and talk about it. And so it's going to literally take all of December for that adventure.
One question.
Yes.
Do you wear wigs?
No.
Have you worn wigs?
No.
Will you wear wigs?
No.
You're a beautiful man. When will you wear wigs?
No, I mean, if ever I end up looking like Kev, I will wear a wig.
You're just backwards, am I right?
That said, hope you're in for the ride that is Nerd Herder for the next couple of months as we take that adventure. But if you're not, we're going to have plenty of Star Wars to talk about in the new year, new season, crossing the milestone of 300 episodes. So we've got to go bigger, badder, bolder, hammier in the next season. And so
I'm really glad for my filter kicking in there because I almost said a word. Woo!
So
I'll let Kev say it.
It all starts now, chatting with our friends and celebrating 21 years of Halo. Let's bring these boys in.
Anyway, I'm here to teach you how to log off and touch grass.
Kev, do you wear wigs?
Nothing like Linda Carter.
I can.
Palate cleanse.
I mean, give me 5 minutes. You'll have your pick of the litter.
I probably could. My widow speak has graduated into a widow's cliff.
Yeah, you're
That's
absolutely yes. You're full on Vegeta.
Just do what I did, pal.
I did for a while, but you know,
that's okay, man. Just do it again. We'll be cue balls together.
There you go.
But I enjoy sleeping with my wife. And she hates me bald. Hates it.
Oh,
that's okay because I hate me bald too. So
I'll wait for her to
like
you.
Only once and never again.
Do you hate me bald?
No. I think you're great.
Then why do you hold my head like a basketball?
Because it just feels nice. Exactly.
That's not the sound a dribbling basketball makes. That's just the only one I could pull at that moment.
No, I love it. I love it.
That is
But
the
see,
sound
now
of
what
a
you
suction
need-
cup being.
Now what you need is a Nerf gun to try and
inside
nail her
joke.
in the head with.
Please don't. I'm very sensitive.
Oh,
No,
so
but
this
like
is
that's-
easily.
But seriously though, I mean, the one thing that keeps the relationship strong is Nerf fights.
That's very
yes.
true.
Oh,
At
absolutely.
least once a year. You will.
Absolutely.
point something out.
Get all of your
Aggression.
grievances and aggression out in one foam dart infused battle.
Yeah.
Yes. And
yeah.
if it gets bad enough, graduate to paintball.
Yeah.
I really need to get my wife a sock and bopper.
Yeah. Look, I one time I did laser tag with the wife, and this is how we're in a tactical situation. Do not rely on us, because at the start of it, I was like, all right, babe, just stick with me. You cover this way, I'll cover that way. She took off in 5 seconds flat just to do her own.
Go.
She went rogue in 5 seconds. I was like,
Did she
oh,
win?
No. Her
Did you
plan
have a
com-
fun time?
Oh yeah, we had a great time. I mean,
There you go.
but there are people that take that stuff real seriously. They're
I
like
know.
real
Yes.
serious. And I'm like, calm down, man. You're in a 500 square foot room, not Fallujah.
They also
Yep.
probably have a flag with a blue lion on it on their Ford 150 outside. So
No, it's a Punisher skull.
My Tundra. It's also called the Fundra.
Step to me, I'll bring the
Oh.
Thundra.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Had a thin teal line a few hours ago. The Baja Blast keeps this country.
I should have known this would be an unhinged episode.
Right off the bat, dude.
Right off
Right
the
off
bat.
the
Hey, and I don't even have the bandwidth to
Heck.
be the sane party because this week has absolutely wrecked me. But this has been a light at the end of the tunnel for sure. We've been looking forward to this because Halo, but also because Friends. And it really, we're all old enough to know that Halo brought together, like that was an experience with friends.
Oh yeah.
There are relationships that have never been the same without Halo multiplayer for me. And so it's hard to believe that 2 decades have gone by. Well, it's not,
Good
because then
God.
if you look at the original game, you
It's
believe it.
easy to believe.
Yeah.
Master
Yeah.
Chief is.
They remade it.
They
Yeah.
they
Well,
did.
yeah.
They did, and that was still 11 years ago.
I know.
It's all crazy. The passage of time is scary, and I try not to spend too much time thinking about it because things I grew up with are getting old, which means I'm getting old,
Mhm.
and I don't know how I feel about that yet. So I just don't feel.
You know
Yeah.
what still looks as pretty as the day she was born? Skyrim. Skyrim's still looking pretty.
That's true.
true.
So does
Haven't
Ratchet
they
and Clank.
re-released it like 6 times?
Yes.
Just recently for the 10-year anniversary, baby.
Oh my god, again.
It looks so good.
You know, and again, like my experience with Halo is incredibly limited. If nothing else, I'm here for the yucks. But what I will say about there you go. But what I will say about Halo is that it does operate in some rarefied air, because there's
Yes.
not many video games that worm their way into the cultural zeitgeist that way. You know, it just
For sure.
it's an exclusive club.
Mhm.
It really is. And I mean, so it's weird because I grew up with the 2 biggest, I'd say, poster boy game series with each console, which is Halo. And then on the other side with PlayStation, I grew up with Ratchet and Clank, both of which are similarly old.
We had very different upbringing.
And it's interesting because like it's very similar in that, all right, this is a big selling point for this console, for this company, and it has been for 2 decades. And I still feel like Halo has this sort of gate kept, not in the sense that would trigger us Star Wars fans, but definitely it checks your card at the door. Unlike with
Yeah.
PlayStation games, where it seems like, no, this has just been around forever and they really haven't changed much.
Mhm.
Come on in, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Nope.
So it's something about Xbox, I think, and Bill Gates. And I mean, if you go back even further to 1998 with Halo, Steve Jobs.
Wow.
Yeah, like
That dude
there's
had a hand in it.
Yeah, well, with a big part of the launch, with getting what became Halo an option on the field,
and even what it is now, it is a stark odyssey of like lore. Good God, is there lore?
Yeah, and so like the biggest thing I could think of with Halo, which I know doing an episode on, and I joke, but really I really like Halo. Brad, I know you were chomping at the bit to come on for a Halo discussion, and Kev's always raring for a good time.
Of course, he's here for a good time and a long time.
Exactly.
This episode exists only because like that. I'm just like, oh, it's turning 21. I want to talk about that, and it's just so. But thinking like sitting in that and thinking about like what does Halo like represent or mean to someone that doesn't necessarily feel that way about it, maybe has heard of the game and everything. And I'm really just struck by the fact that like, and it's going to sound really meaningless and generic, but Halo has something for everyone.
Sure.
Right. I'm not going to go into an E3 spiel for you, but
you're not wearing the right shirt and or sport coat.
Yes. Oh, that's a reference. But like Halo has video games. Halo has comics. Halo has books. Halo now has a TV show.
It has a very homoerotic television show.
It has anime. It has touched a lot of things and a lot of people. And it's weird how many ways you can come to like Halo.
Yeah. No, and you're not wrong, man, because like my investment in it as a property is not in the video game, right? Like that came out, like Xbox came out when I was kind of away from video games, because my upbringing was like, Nintendo and Sega and that stuff, right? So it came out when I was kind of like getting away from the video games a little bit, but where I've looped back around to it is through the series. And, I found the series to be incredibly compelling, incredibly well done. Like, I wasn't expecting to be like, oh, cool, it's Thursday, Halo's out now. Like, there's another episode of Halo. I was not expecting that. It snuck up on me like a brainworm. And, it to the point where I'm like, okay, season 2, when? Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something like for a longtime fan, like that was so talked up for so long. And there's Halo Nightfall, which was a very short-lived miniseries. There was Halo Forward Unto Dawn, which was a direct-to-video sort of venture and everything. There's been attempts at breaking into a live-action format, because that was always sort of the legendary status for Halo. Like, if we can get it there, if we can get a movie, if we can get a show.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy that happened only just recently, because I remember as long ago as like 2008, 2010, that still being a big conversation. So long time coming to get to that point. But that's something I think that there's some people that will only be like, oh yeah, I love Halo, the series, and will be awestruck to find out there's games. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to imagine, because so it's not just the 21st anniversary of Halo, it's the 21st anniversary of Xbox.
Good God.
This wasn't like
Halo released with Xbox.
Yes. Like, that's a huge deal. It's like it's not like PlayStation where, all right, we're going to release this new expensive console and we're going to have 5 brand new games that these are the pilots for this thing. Like, no, we're launching this game and this is the game you can play it on.
Yeah.
Like that, it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it all started it's not like, we like to, us all being Star Wars fans, we like to think that there was that George Lucas magic in it. They always knew it was going to be special,
Right.
No.
No.
It's the reality of George Lucas made his own movie because no one else wanted to.
Right.
It's a much more cobbled together history that gave us a really like simple game in 2001. November 15th, 2001, and has since gotten several sequels to that game. And like I said, broken into a lot of other ventures and everything.
Yeah.
Which is it's just crazy to think of the lasting power that has.
And that's really rad for people to like find multiple different insertion points into this thing. Like for me, it was the series, right?
Nice.
So, this is something Brad and I have talked about ad nauseum is, wanting to get into Halo and play that multiplayer. But like, admittedly, I need a hard drive. That's on me. But, but like, I find that really interesting in the sense that like, I enjoyed the series so much, but like, oh, now I can further immerse myself and I can like live within that world and do this thing. You know? That's the hallmark of a lasting property. When you've got something that people can enter into it from different angles and then still find a way to immerse themselves, whether it's literature, comics, anime, whatever, like that's significant. That's what makes it last 21 years.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, and it's that like, it's always, it allows escalation. It's not something where I can't think of one now, but like, it's not one of those things like you watch this 90-minute movie and your experience is over. It only exists in this movie. There's no alternate media for it. There's no merchandise. There's nothing else for you when this is done. It's this very short-lived experience. To be able to watch the series and be like, wow, that's really cool. I'd love to get in that world. Hey, take your pick of video games. Or, oh, you don't game? Okay, but can you read?
Yeah.
Here you go.
No.
Running joke.
The Wayne Campbell, I never learned to read.
So Brad, you were there in 2001.
Sentient.
Were you with Halo from the beginning, or did you come along later?
Oh god, yeah. Definitely ask me only deep-seated questions because it will shave years off the war and save thousands of lives. I don't trust myself to talk about something like this because the last time I tried, we talked about it I talked about it for 4.5 hours, and it is the single biggest regret of an episode I have.
Oh no,
not for me, buddy. Not for me.
Not for you, because you just got to sit there and go,
yeah. No.
Oh my gosh.
Just because it was because it's so rare that you get so amped up that you don't shut up. Like it's so rare that you get so into something that you just keep going. And I'm like, I'm not gonna stop that locomotive. Keep going, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, from the beginning. And I did not stop. I can solo or co-op, I can beat the game on Legendary in less than a day. I can quote basically every cutscene from every game with voices. It's bad. It's bad.
Or good.
It's good is what I say, sir. I love that.
Do you make up your own Master Chief voice, or do you do his voice?
No, I just do the gravelly low voice.
Yeah. Cortana.
But wouldn't it be more fun if Master Chief talked like this?
That's what Newgrounds is for. I
feel like a lot of his lines would be really good with an Alex Jones.
Oh my god,
sir! Finishing this fight
on the horn now.
They're turning the freaking Covenant gay.
they're turning the split lips gay.
I'm furious. It's 1776.
No, what's even better is the grunts with Alex Jones' voice for the nipple. We were nipple mates. Which. For those listening after the fact that aren't used to those words from my mouth,
listen,
that's a thing in the video game. Okay,
you've made grunts, Kevin laugh so hard that he's disappearing.
I don't care. It's so good.
The grunts have nipple mates, and they all feed from a nipple at all ages. Okay, it's just a superior form of food delivery.
Same.
How else are they going to get methane, man?
If it was good enough for baby Jesus, it's good enough for 39-year-old Jesus. Okay,
are we going to dive deep enough into this to talk about the Grunt Rebellion? Because I can talk about the Grunt Rebellion.
So one of my biggest regrets is when we first launched NerdyVerse. when we first were like, all right, we want to start talking about other things we really like, whether anybody wants to listen or not, which is just what this is.
Yeah.
Early on was Halo. It was one of the big things for me where it's just like, I want to talk about this from an angle I don't think anybody talks about. I'm not going to talk about the game. I want to talk about the lore way back.
Lore.
Yes.
Sorry, I watched Game Theory earlier. That just kind of came out of me.
The lore.
No,
the quotes are the best thing about Game Theory.
Pretty good map. Dang.
You got your ride or die right there. You got your ride or die right there.
Yeah. So hence became Halo, 3-part series.
No. It was 4 parts.
Was it 4?
It was 4 parts.
Because
I sat for 4 hours and listened to you.
Why have I never heard of this?
We did it.
Yeah.
Well, so we did it audio only. That was still before we streamed. And but throughout the entire process, I have little miniatures of all of the aliens that I'm explaining and all the people. And so because Halo is not a thing for Boop.
It still isn't.
So this was to help them. It was like, all right, I'm going to talk a lot to keep you entertained. Here's a cute representation of a grunt.
Here's the thing. I'm going to have to do the same thing for you when I bring Michael on and we're going to explain Kingdom Hearts.
Probably.
Y'all are going to do that?
But
I want to.
So that was audio only. And I hate that we didn't go to streaming just yet because no one else gets to see the fun we had while recording that. But yeah, like everything that predates the first game. So I went through that exists. It's on YouTube. It for a long time before the freaking Nicolas Cage episode was our biggest episode.
Wow. I was about to say,
whoa,
scoot away from Boop.
Shade.
Scoot away.
I hate the fact that the episode
Cage.
The episode I was most adamant against doing
I'm gonna take your
our biggest episode
off.
And so I was happy when I was like, oh my gosh, people are like really blowing up these Halo episodes. That's awesome. I feel so validated. And then Nicolas Cage just cages all over it. And it's just
get cagey, baby. It's get cagey.
I'm telling you, I was half expecting. I was half expecting Nicolas Cage to come flying out of the frame. To just smack him right in the face.
Like, she grabbed that pillow and her arm was still over here. I was expecting a swing.
I know.
I thought about it.
They would.
They would.
So that's admittedly, all right. So I played the first game at a friend's house, as I did most of my original games. So
you were a goblin child.
Ratchet and Clank. So I lied. So recently, Ratchet and Clank celebrated its 20th anniversary. It was released in 2002 on the PlayStation 2.
Old.
An amazing game, an amazing series that's still making amazing games. I highly recommend it. If you need something to play Ratchet and Clank, please. And so I the Insomniac games page, the makers of it were like, share your memories, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, oh yeah, when my friend gave me their copy of Ratchet and Clank, I was hooked.
Yeah.
That was a lie. I stole that game.
You stealer.
I stole that game because I played it and I was hooked and I was like, this is my precious. And it walked away.
Open up.
Bro, what, bro? I don't know. It was just there. I was like, oh. Anyway, you want to play Ratchet and Clank at my house?
Wow.
So I experienced all of my favorite things through someone else first.
And thievery.
Transformers, Halo, Star Wars. All of it began with either a very purposeful, hey, watch this amazing thing, or I don't care what you do, put that on. And then my world being opened up.
Mm-hmm.
After the Ratchet and Clank incident, so it was probably like 2003 before I got to play the game. My friend was way more protective of their game, so I didn't get to steal Halo from them. But I was like, I can't get rid of this. Like this game was so much fun. This world is so interesting. And come to find out, there's a book. And so I remember hunting down and getting a book from Books A Million, Halo Fall of Reach. And I still have my original copy of it, and I read the crap out of that multiple times.
Yeah.
And come to find out, then it was a trilogy, and then more came. And so for a long time, it was the lore, it was the books that was Halo to me, until 2011 with Halo Reach, that I finally got an Xbox. I finally was able to go back and play. Oh my God, now there's 3 Halos, and now there's this new edition and all this other stuff. So it's like, it was a very drawn out experience for me. And so like everything I love about Halo is the story, and it came from the books that then made me more invested in playing the games, because I was that one that would play a first-person shooter and look at the flowers kind of character. So you know, and so it's just like I'm there, and the ghost is coming through, and I'm just like, oh, that's what that looks like, from the book and everything, and it's just like
it looks more like a human to me.
And so I would keep dying because I would just be there like looking through things, and then suicide grunt, and it's just like done.
Same.
Why do you think I have 5,000s of hours in Skyrim?
Yeah, just stop and look at the flowers sometimes in your games.
Look at the polygons, baby.
But you would be understandably confused by like this game has that much deep lore, because the original game, it's not really just it was a very rushed game, by the way. Like if you look, and I teased, like obviously Bill Gates with Microsoft and Xbox was a big play in getting this to happen. At some point, Steve Jobs was an investor with it. This wasn't Bungie's first game even, and this is what took a 15-person team into the huge company that it is now, making Destiny and other great ventures.
You mean Destiny?
Yeah.
Wow.
When they changed sides.
I was about when they broke off from Microsoft, that was the one game they've come out with. Two games they've come out with. Two
games, and they began what is now the DLC wars, I will call it. Where we release a game, and every 6 months release a download for said game.
That's going to cost you another $40 to play.
And that's the one thing where it's just like, I like a game that continues to have life. I don't like to continue to pay for a game and get like 8 more hours. Like,
I stopped playing Destiny when they decided to cut off like the first 3 expansions worth of content, like the base game that first came out, and then like 2 expansions worth. They just completely like threw those off to the side and made it to where you couldn't play them anymore. And now you've only got like the current expansions that they've got. I was like, mother.
And that's, I mean, that's a PlayStation thing. But anyway, so look into the production history of Halo. It's a really interesting story that gets us this.
It's fascinating,
like groundbreaking game. And I know looking at it sometimes it may not be like, oh, this is groundbreaking. This is the best they had.
I mean, it's not meant to look pretty, because you can look at some of the original player, like all the original like Alien models, and they're just blocky and like non-textured. But I will say the game, they put enough thought into it where you could melee a dead body and have a cloud of blood splatter everywhere. And you could do that over and over again until it crashed the Xbox. I know I've done it.
Yep. That's awesome.
I call that the Mortal Kombat effect. The more blood and guts you put in, the more eyeballs you're going to get.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's the weirdest meat of like non-realistic appearances and realistic mechanics in that game. Like gravity works properly, like the motion of Master Chief, even though like it's first person, they do build a Master Chief model in that, and so you can only move as that character can move in the space and everything. It's things like that where it's just like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it's really interesting to see what they did put thought into, and then the things where they kind of made it work. And graphics is that area. There's nothing like what you would see in games now. Even Halo Infinite that just released 2 years ago, last year.
Sounds about right.
And so
I think when the last time I touched it was.
PlayStation hears me talking about Xbox too much and is trying to get me.
Traitor!
Right. But so again, that said, like, look into how this game came about. Either way, what you get, you're looking at, and you're like, there can't be that much story. But
it's a sleeping giant story, honestly, because you just had that case.
So
or the booklet, yeah.
The lore is in here. Nobody ever stops and read the manual.
You know who does? Nintendo fans.
True, because you have to. Because how else would you know? You have to Z-target all the time.
Z-targeting is part of the game. Z-targeting is a game mechanic. You can.
It shouldn't have to be.
Mom and
Dad
Dad
to Z-target in Halo.
No, but you have to aim. It's essentially the same thing.
It's not. Anyway.
Go back here.
Anyway. These are the things we argue about. For those wondering, no, we're not a perfect couple. We argue about Z-targeting in this house.
Also 21 years old.
Also how you're supposed to pronounce geriatric.
Anyway.
Isn't it geriatric?
It is geriatric.
It's geriatric. It's geriatric.
It's geriatric.
That's very clearly geriatric.
Everyone look at it. You can't tell me it looks like J.
But it is.
It looks like G.
But it is.
Let me text
it
my
looks
best
like
friend.
It looks like Gim, but it's Jim.
You're gonna do is tell me that it's not Geoff.
No. Well, like it's like the British when they spell Jeff, Geoff. Like
Geoff.
Jeff. It's
Geoff.
Jeff.
I will say if I see
his name's
Jeff like that, I say Geoff just to piss him off. Your name is spelled like that. You deserve it.
Exactly. You geriatric fools. Anyway.
The person that you choose to be.
So the game is fairly straightforward, but the lore that they built for what gets you to that point in the game, essentially crashing on the Halo, all of that's in here. And I remember this I did take.
Stole something.
Right.
No one leaves empty-handed.
You've got like the character profiles and everything like that. You've got the clunky graphics of the alien characters and everything, which was interesting at the time too, because it was also like these aren't just things you shoot at in the game. Like they have interesting lore to each species because there's multiple and all this other stuff, and every vehicle having its classifications and all this other stuff. It's like it's really interesting to sit down and just throw all of this spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, and then have to continue to honor this lore. 6 games later.
Oh no, when in the Halo series, when in that ship scene, when you see all those little orange worms, I mean, you can ask. I don't think Kevin, but you can ask my wife because she was in the other room. She just heard me jump up and go, yes, because that's a hunter. She's got a hunter with her, and it doesn't have its armor on.
The let go.
That's the most magical thing, right? Like, say you get into that game, and this has happened. Like everyone's had this experience when you get into something. You get into the thing, and then you stumble upon connective material, like a book or something like that, and then there's that moment of like. There's more.
Yes,
and then you become positively feral because like you just that was the same feeling I got when I was at my school library. Oh,
and you found Tolkien.
Goodness, no. This was like when I was in elementary school, and I found the glove of Darth Vader. That was the one.
Oh God, yeah.
When I found that book,
Trioculus,
I was like, no way.
Yeah.
And I just became feral. And then it led into more like seeking out books like Shadows of the Empire, which got really weird because the Prince dude was kind of like hot on Leia. And that was a weird thing for me to process in that time.
And he was green.
But all that to say, like when you come across something like that, that's what makes it so magical. It's what makes it stick with you. Because when you find that connective material, you become Augustus Gloop. You go into the chocolate tube and you want to live in there,
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know. It's this brain thing of like, all right, this exists. This is the only way it exists. And it's like same experience with the first time I found a Star Wars book, and it's just like, wait, what? It's a movie, but it's a movie. What? Because it's always been these separate entities. Like there's movies and then there's books.
My My dad read me The Hobbit as a kid. That was one of the few books that he read me because he wanted to be the one to read it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason why we're talking about Lord of the Rings and
because
Tolkienisms here soon, which Kev has no big feelings about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, you messed up. You messed up when you invited me.
Oh no,
I don't think so. I'm excited.
Yeah,
you can be my new dad. You could be John's dad too.
That'd be nice.
Sold.
Oh yeah. We finished reading that, and then the movies were coming out, which were the best idea ever. My dad, in timing. If that sentence did not make sense, it was a little disjointed, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
we were able to go directly from The Hobbit to the movies.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I mean, and that had to be exactly that feeling of just like the awe of transition from one to the other.
Yeah.
Because I mean that you know I played the game, I was introduced to a world, and then it was just books. And so the first time I really went back in, which for 2011 when they did Halo Reach, they redid the original game, so it looked much better, completely different. And so, like, stepping back into that, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is everything I've spent years reading about. And to go from, you know, here's this fantastical, whimsical book, this story, and now here it is being translated to screen so beautifully. Like, how it's stunning.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
stunning.
I have a question. Feel free to smack me if this is incorrect.
Smack.
The hunters are the kitty cat?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
That is a
cat.
Cat. I'm a kitty cat. And I dance, and I dance. That is my touchstone with Halo. That was the only thing. Can you find it?
Yeah, keep talking.
You just took me back like so many years right there.
That's OG Newgrounds, baby.
Oh,
yeah. That was the only thing that I knew of Halo for the longest time before I met, the fella here. It was the kitty cat video, and then it was Red versus Blue. Like that was all I knew.
Yeah. I don't think I stumbled across Red versus Blue until probably high school.
Oh man.
I want to say.
Oh no, I know. I've watched it all now, but I didn't start watching it until they were already done with the Blood Gulch Chronicles.
Yeah, I was gonna say I came way. I want to say like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Like I a lot opened up when I got Halo Reach, got the original game. And soon after got Halo 2. It was a while before I got Halo 3, but there was this just, what else have I missed? Like, I really didn't know how much more Halo had happened because, again, it was only experiencing it through books for me.
Yep.
And so I went down this huge rabbit hole, discovered Red versus Blue and all these other things. I discovered all these crazy animatics from Newgrounds and all of this. It was just...
So a little bit too much of Cortana.
Yeah, it was absolutely like as soon as you discovered water existed, getting handed a hose. It's like, you're just going at it.
That is a really good metaphor.
Yeah.
Good God. Good job.
Man, you're on fire tonight, buddy.
I know, right?
That's what happens when I apparently YouTube 13-year-old videos.
13 years old.
Yeah.
Good
I don't know.
God.
Yeah. And so but yes, so hunters are this to boop.
Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, and I dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, and I dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, and I dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, and I dance.
That is it. That is all I knew of Halo for the longest time.
God, what more do you need?
I remember the original video of the cat. I'm a kitty cat. Wow. That was like early. That had to have been like my freshman year of high school. It was the kitty cat video. It was Charlie, Candy Mountain. It was that one.
Charlie.
It was of course the peanut butter jelly time. Do you remember that one?
Oh,
yeah.
We're old.
I'm ancient. I'm ancient. I'm basically Treebeard now.
We are internet ancient.
We only say what's worth taking a long time to say.
Yeah.
That's our motto. The next time somebody
Exactly.
complains about, gosh, can you do an under an hour episode? No.
Oh no,
Make your own podcast.
We've only just begun to say hello, guys. Like,
Right.
like it's you. Yeah, you don't understand how hard that hits because that almost was our podcast name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Really?
god,
Well, wasn't it Entmoot at one point?
Endmoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
That
A
would've
little
been
old.
awesome.
Yeah, no.
I would have
No.
listened to it.
Yeah, no.
Before-
I mean, we don't do a whole lot of Tolkien because like Brad's eyes just go white, like they just go back into his skull.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Unless you're talking about a
Tolkien-
Balrog, and then I wake up.
Oh yeah, no,
Right.
don't wake
Balrog
up for
is pretty cool.
Balrogs.
Your Tolkien is his Halo. And
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
just-
I was gonna say
Exactly.
that earlier.
Like
Yeah, no,
the depth of insanity that I reach with the Tolkien lore is exactly what he reaches with the Halo lore.
yeah.
It's impressive. It
Mhm.
really is. But it's
Yeah.
also very endearing because I like being around people that have a thing and they don't. It's not just like, oh yeah, it's my thing. It's like, no, I'm going straight into the deep end. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
I admire the hell out of that.
It's
Remind
one of
me
those
to bring
things
up
where it's
bears
like
later.
it's one of those things where you ask a question and it's like the person who's trying to explain it's like I can't tell you about this until we connect this dot over here and then that
Mhm.
one comes over here and connects
Yep.
to that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
you get the Ace Ventura
Yeah.
prep.
Yeah, like, well, and I had to, so I like mentally I'm that person, like in all capacities. Like this week I had to do that with Halo, and with just work stuff,
Mhm.
where somebody was like, why do we do it this way? It's just like, oh boy, well, you see, in 1997.
Dude,
Strap in.
someone asked
Right.
me a very simple question about Twin Peaks the other day.
There are no
and I
simple
had to be
questions.
like, let's talk about Lewis and Clark. Right?
Yeah.
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 So it's definitely like, yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where it's just like everybody has those things like we wade in the waters with, and then there's the things that are the deep ends, and people's reasonings for coming to that conclusion of like, this is an important thing to me. This is pivotal to me and my personhood.
If you're wondering why we haven't talked about Twin Peaks yet, even though I talk about it almost weekly, it would be a 5-hour episode because I love that show so freaking much.
And like, why is the special stuff? That's the secret sauce that
Exactly.
makes,
It's the coffee and cherry pie.
yeah, it's what makes liking it so delicious.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't like using that word a lot, but
It's almost because like
Everything.
we all understand the nuts and bolts of the thing. Like
Yeah.
if you're really into, let's just keep it on topic here and say like Halo. If you're really into that, you know the nuts and bolts, you know where all the connective tissues are, you know the timeline, the order of events, but that's not the important stuff. The important stuff is, why did you connect with it? Why does it matter to you? Like
Exactly.
why are we 43 minutes into this? Because it matters. It means something.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know,
It's about theft.
Exactly.
At least for John.
Yeah.
no. Well, I mean,
It's
okay.
about the
Oh
theft
yeah,
of
yes,
children.
yes. I thought you were talking about
Oh
literally
yeah,
Halo.
the Spartans, right?
Yeah. The big thick boys.
Yeah.
There you go.
big-
You remember things.
Yeah. I remember things about
All right.
child theft.
You okay, buddy?
Yeah.
I'm just impressed Boop remembered things from my hours of ranting about Halo.
Hey,
Eating a Twix.
the Arbiter. I know who that is.
That's Master Chief's boyfriend.
I know.
We were
Why not?
Arbiter. I hardly know her.
we were expressly requested by our friend Andy, friend of the show,
They are
to make
spectacular.
sure to mention that Halo 3 is a enemies to lovers game.
And why
And
not?
also very special.
I mean, everyone except for Prophet of Truth. I mean, that's
Right. Well, but at the end of the day, who wouldn't with Thel Vadami, right? All right. The voice of Keith David. Yes.
yes, though.
Oh,
yes,
yes.
absolutely.
I would
don't-
listen to him read the dictionary.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even need to know the biology of your alienness. I like, yes,
No.
just talk to
So-
me.
It could just be,
oh no, and
um,
there are those special cut scenes in the Master Chief collection when you get Vadami and Locke
Locke,
talking
yes.
together. Ooh.
There's a lot of names being thrown around.
So for those that don't know, so the
It's like reading
Arbiter,
Dune.
Thel Vadamy is probably like the poster boy of the enemy species, because it's humans versus aliens is like a through thread of Halo.
Humans.
The first game lets you in on the fact that there's more going on, because as you progress in the game, you start to realize there's some enigmatic third party at play. But at the beginning, it's humans versus aliens, and there's different casts of aliens and species in this covenant, and they're called that because they are all in covenant together and basically reverence technology.
It's an alien crusade.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That is an amazing way to put it. And so, and that's the thing. They literally have what the humans call elites that are classified as zealots. They are literally like religious artifact protectors and seekers. And then there's the caste system too of like the lower intelligence grunts that we've been teasing. You know, they're not allowed much of the technology and all the other stuff. They're a lesser life form. Well,
they do. So grunts have numbers. They rebelled, started beating some major
because
booty.
They fornicate like bunnies.
Yes, they just had numbers, and they just started whipping some booty one day, and the Covenant leadership decided to destroy their planet to get them to stop.
Like you do,
and
then
afterwards
they're like, okay, now you get the small weapons. We don't trust you anymore.
Right. And so so they've got the jackals, and there's this sort of Noah's Ark situation going on with the Covenant. They all live there and they have their neighborhoods in the Ark. And they basically just travel together, all mostly believing in this religious crusade of, you know, the Forerunners and their technology and this great journey that they clearly took on because they're not here anymore. And it's trying to get to that discovery, and that leads the aliens to Halo. The humans come to Halo for different reasons. And what's interesting is, like, you don't get much of that until later, but Thel Vadamy actually ends up being sort of the case for religious trauma throughout the original trilogy of games, because by the third game, he basically comes to the point of like, no, this is not true.
You've used my people, and now you must die.
Yes, because all of them believe for different things. So, like Thel Vadamy and Brad, if you can remember the actual species name of the elites, you'd be a better man. Sangheli. So they legit believe in these things. Like they're probably, oh my gosh. So the relationship between the Sangheli and the Sanshun, which are the prophets, is Native American to white people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like the prophets and their species are very exploitative because the higher ups of that know it's BS.
So let's talk about Lewis and Clark. See, there's a white lodge, but there's also a black lodge.
There is, and there's a red lodge, but that's a different thing. Anyway,
completely.
So like there's this exploitation of beliefs, and so Thel kind of leads this insurrection, which kind of means that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, because also Master Chief is kind of going through a crisis of faith, but faith in the military and government. And
it's almost as if you should question your beliefs constantly.
Right. Yeah. If there's two things you should always be cautious
that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's two things you should always be cautious of, it's the government and religion. And that brings these two bros together for a beautiful budding relationship. I clipped my mic on that one. Yes, audio listeners can imagine what puppetry was happening there.
That's the best euphemism for what we were just doing.
All I'm saying is after Thel Vadamy met Master Chief, aka John, he went from silver armor to gold armor. He gussied up for John. Okay, so just saying, and made an impression. And Agent Locke knew who to come to when John was on the run. and he was sent to hunt him down. He knew who to go to get the deets. He went to the Arbiter. So
saying
there's a
some
case
fan
to be
art.
made.
Hey, you know what? Why not?
I'm telling- the two of them make up at least 90% of the Halo Rule 34 pages.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? If the Master Chief in the game looks anything like Porn Stash from the series,
Yeah.
I would dress up nice too. Okay,
It's true.
I'd put on my
they
Sunday
didn't go
best.
that far off because all the descriptions of John are very military. Close cropped hair, brown eyes, a very pale and scar covered.
Yeah,
that's all you
Tall
really
as
get.
hell.
Yeah.
And he's
7
8
what?
feet tall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, after the augmentations, because that's the thing. So in the game, he's just a super soldier. He's just you are Master Chief in the game, and so that you're just introduced as that. You are this because it gives you the functions of the game.
Yeah, they don't really go into the trauma and the torture in the first game.
Not really until Halo Reach.
Reach and 4, yeah.
Reach and 4, yeah.
That's the first that really deal with the fact of where these super soldiers come from.
Well, and it's because those are the games that brought in Halsey.
Yeah. And then
I hate Halsey. I hate Halsey. I hate her.
Halsey in the games isn't as bad.
No, I hate her. Irredeemable.
Books, though.
In the books.
You bring up a good point because every form of media gives you a mixed bag of emotions of how you're supposed to feel. Because in the books, it's very explicit. It's very wrong. In the games, it's very maternal. It's very like they're my children kind of thing.
Well, and I think a lot of that, because something that people don't like immediately grab a hold of that the show did fantastically, I thought, is no matter how you cut it, Halsey is part of ONI, which is essentially the CIA of the Halo universe. They've done some illegal and questionable shit.
Or to be relevant for the Star Wars people, they're the ISB.
Yes.
But if you can imagine it, worse.
Yeah. That is exactly why I want everything bad that could happen to a person to happen to Halsey. Like I want her to have pink eye once a week. Like I literally I want her to wake up every other day and find that she has a cleft chin. And
well, you know what you've got?
Crisis over that.
She loses an arm.
Yeah.
No.
That's it.
No,
yeah.
They
and like a lot of trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Sure.
Careful, personally part of your pillow.
I hope with Halsey, I hope every time she flushes the toilet, it splashes back at her. Every time.
So
dang it.
so if I can, so if
Oh God. Hello. My name is Elder John, and I would like to share with you the most amazing book.
If the connectivity of
Book of
like
Mormon.
ONI and the ISB is intriguing to you, and if you're watching Andor, that's really cool stuff for you right now. The Kilo 5 trilogy of Halo books, it delves really big into ONI and the dark side of the government and everything. So it's not the here's the perfect soldier boy, saving the day kind of situation. It's a book that's, or it's a trilogy of books. It's a story that's messy and gritty, and it's got no good guys. Like there's a side you're definitely rooting for, but in rooting for them, you're also horribly sympathetic to the situation. And so I realize in describing this, it sounds horrible. It's really good. In fact, Karen Travis, noted for the Republic Commando books and several other, very good Star Wars projects as well, wrote this. And so there you go. Good books.
Which is why you don't sleep on books that are connected to other media. Okay, you do not sleep on those things because, like, those are really, really talented authors that put all of their self into those things, and those books rock. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I would stack any one of the High Republic books against any great piece of literature you want to think of. You know what? Cavan Scott, Charles Soule, you're right up there with Tolstoy. I said it. I said what I said. I don't care what anyone says.
I liked it.
No, yeah, like that.
I say yes.
There are many people that have shaped like my literary interests because of getting into Halo. Because what I really liked is it wasn't any. Well, so Eric Nyland did the first trilogy of books, but they quickly diversified and got into horror. They got more into military, which was where Karen Traviss came in. Like they really broke through and tried to make an expansive universe from different authors' strengths. And so it really built out, and that's what that, you know, going back to what I was saying, like that's why I feel like it has something for everybody, because I can recommend you a fun Halo as well. There's a book that covers every area of it, and still feels like it's all part of it.
Like some japes and shenanigans, please.
So but like you mentioned with, you know, the High Republic, there's things that will break your heart. There's things that will bring you joy. There's things that'll do both and call you granny. Like,
I feel like one of my favorite Halo books has got to be Reclamation, which is the one that takes place between the first game and the second game. When they
I would be interested in this conversation, Andy. Anyway,
but yeah, it's the book that takes place between the first game and the second. So it like takes place when Master Chief and Cortana are floating through space in the longsword after blowing up Halo.
Do you ever wonder why we're here?
Hang on. I
want to say it was Reclamation.
Don't read an entire book on the podcast.
But it leads into 2 because like it's got them like hijacking a Covenant cruiser and like coming back and like heading back to Earth.
And yes, and that also reintroduces Blue Team into the story. Yes,
except for Katie.
Such a nerd.
Linda,
the one that Halsey takes with her. It's the sniper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because fun fact, for anybody that hasn't discovered it or just remembers the original game, you're not the only Spartan in that game.
Yeah.
When you wake up, there's 2 pods and you're one of them. You can see another Master Chief. It's supposed to be a woman named Linda. Fun fact, super soldier augmentation screws up your body.
I mean, if it could make me taller.
Well, yeah, because what was it? It was
I
want to say it was like out of 170 something kids, only 30 of them survived.
I'll take that chance, baby.
Yeah.
I want to be tall.
Or 30 of them moved on to be super soldiers. 60 or 70 survived, but only 30 of them actually were well enough to be super soldiers. The rest of them went into intelligence.
You're not dissuading us. We're already unwell.
If it gets me to the height of 6'3", I will do unspeakable things. I'm
Still
tired
won't
of
be
being
taller
a short
than me.
king. I am tired of being a short king.
Well, the fact is no, because that's only the Generation 1 Spartans, because
or no, Gen 2.
Right, Gen 2, because we don't talk about Sergeant Avery Johnson like that. Anyway, well, but following Halsey's Spartans, then there's a Gen 3 that is meant to be more widespread. Like we get more bang for our buck, basically.
Yeah,
and so there's less invasive augmentation.
Yeah, but they were also meant to just run suicide missions.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, oh my gosh. So literally, there's Alpha. You know, like it goes down. They would literally. All right, Alpha's
no
ready.
in my Halo.
So So after Alpha was ready, which would be about 300 candidates, they'd send them on a mission. They would literally just throw these augmented, and this still children, by the way. Halsey, at least, like, I think when they go on their first mission, they're nearly 20. All right.
I want to say they were more like 17 or 18.
So
that first mission against the insurrectionists before they had the Mjolnir armor was when they were like 17 or 18.
Good God.
Yes,
but they had the bodies of like 20 or 30-year-olds.
Right. Well, right, because they didn't initially have that. The first mission I think they get Mjolnir is where
they get it after.
Yeah.
Wait, Thor's in this?
No, so that's what the armor's called.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The armor is Mjolnir Mach 4.
Yes. And so every time it changes, it's a different iteration. Although Mjolnir later on would be its own like classification.
Tell me why when you said Mach 4, I thought of a razor, like a new razor to sell. It's the Mjolnir Mach 4.
Yeah, it could be. It absolutely
Gillette,
could
the best a man can get.
So
men cannot get better.
Originally they were super soldiers for fighting humans,
Mm-hmm.
like Brad mentioned. So insurrectionists, because as with everything, there's always constantly this big government thumb, even on space colonists and this
Mm-hmm.
wide expanse. Because in this future, in the 2500s, we're out there. We're on several planets. So Halo Reach takes place on a planet called Reach, which is very Earth specific. The original war with the Covenant starts on a planet called Harvest, and so there's this big Star Wars like expanse going on with exploration and what did the science people call it when you create a
Space
terraforming.
Oh.
Yeah, kind of, where you go in, you make like, this is my home now. But yes,
terraform.
well, and that's the thing is there's also this really freaking like, and God bless Eric Nyland, because he really had to do a lot of the building with, oh, and by the way, you know hyperspace in Star Wars, yeah, we can do something like that. Can you make that make sense for us? And he comes up with all of these concepts for their ships and their weapons and how it works, and also he manages to make space like ship to ship combat in space interesting in the book. So like, credit where credit is due.
Torpedoes and nuclear warheads flying back and forth.
Right. And so what always happens, this is a Tomino Gundam classic. All right. Humans go to space. Do humans in space have to respect Earth government? And that's kind of what the insurrectionist thing going on is. It's constantly that thing of, if we're off and out and doing our own thing, can we really have one form of government governing everyone? And is it fair for everyone?
The solution is big robot.
Right. In Gundam, it would be a big robot. In this, it's big boys. And so that's where the
covered
super
up with
soldiers
big
come
robots.
from.
We do
Covered
love a
up with
boy.
big robots. The
But
aliens
big
come
boys.
later. And so if you're ever wondering, like, why Master Chief? Why Spartans and super soldiers? That's why. And so, but like there's this whole thing that happens called the Fall of Reach, where the majority of the original Spartans die. Any ones that actually like made it, got the armor, fought the war and everything, most of them died in Reach.
I want to say, I remember doing the math. It was like going into Halo 2, there were like 8 Spartan 2s still alive.
Yeah. And that's all because of one battle.
Out of 30?
Out of like the original
roughly.
30, roughly.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, I think what I liked most about like all the Fall of Reach stuff and everything is if you look more into it, you get a lot more on Thel, because you find out that the reason why he was such a respected commander in the Covenant is because he was one of the few elites to actually treat humans as combatants.
Yes.
Any other elite commander always thought humans as below them. So we would dominate them on planet side, but it was space battles where we would lose everything. Thel did not give a shit one way or the other. He treated humans as combatants and was ruthless. And then it was actually Thel who burned Reach, and you find that out in the beginning of 2.
There's a game of Bed Wed Behead going on in the comments now.
I like that. Bed Wed Behead. I like that.
Thank you. I like calling it the Henry VIII special.
Good pull.
The to-do list.
Yeah, so Sangheili are very are classic Sangheili. Like the Covenant and government corrupt their species.
views.
But they were an honorable species. They were again, they were sort of the true believers at one point. Like they had this they could have been something so more, and they were manipulated and invited on the Ark and on this great journey, and it just devolved. And so you do get characters like Thel. You get characters like Jewel, who comes in later into like Halo 4. That's again interesting, and he and Thel kind of are antithesis, because Thel's like, all right, religious trauma, I'm gonna get out and try and bring as many out as I can and actually try and get back to our roots, whereas he's like, religious trauma, I'm gonna burn the church. So you kind of have both sides to that coin. But so sorry, but every generation of Spartans, they tried to get more bang for the buck, and what
Nice.
they did with the Gen 3 again, they'd get about 300 of them, send them on a mission, and literally hope that sheer numbers worked. And so
How very World War I of them.
Right?
basically, I mean, it was very much this, all right, we're fighting a superior, alien enemy. At this point, we've got to hope that if we have more than your average man, but not necessarily as many as the expensive, running man, like somewhere in the middle, if we have a good number of those and just overwhelm them, maybe we can actually start winning.
And Halsey hated them. Hate.
Good. I hate Halsey.
Yeah.
And so there's this like evil scientist thing in the background going on.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
And all this stemming from, okay, so my point was being that as generations went on and the augmentations changed by the Spartan 4s, you really didn't increase in height much. So like
Dang it.
Master Chief is still like a head and a half taller than most Spartans.
How many Emperor Penguins tall is he?
Yeah. Halsey's a pretty standard human size.
12? I don't know. How big are Emperor Penguins?
What the heck?
And you wanna be jarred? You want to be like jarred?
Always.
So
Pickles. Put me in a pickle jar.
so when you play this game, it really messes with your height, your understanding of height. All right, grunts, the little guys, are 5 foot tall.
I'm offended by what you're about to say.
And they like maybe come up to your hip.
Okay, so that
as Master Chief.
Yeah, like
just saying.
It makes you think they are little guys. They're not by normal human standards.
So I think
they're little people.
That helps me come to my conclusion with Andy's comment there. The F, Mary, kill, kill the grunt, because now that I know it's 5'7" or 5 foot, I could take it. I know I could take it. I'm confident I can take it.
You can take it, or you can take it.
Yeah. Well, no, I can like take it.
That doesn't answer my
marry.
question.
I'm going to marry the elite because elite denotes financial stability. And F the brute because, of course.
Well, I was going to say, so Andy's is perfect because the elite will love you, because there's actually countless examples. They're not countless. There's like a dozen examples of good and legitimate relationships. With Sangheili.
Oh yeah,
they will love you.
Yes.
The brute will show you your last great night, and then the grunts are just annoying.
Death by snoo.
Andy really has.
The mind is willing, but the flesh is soft and spongy.
The mind.
See, my brute and my grunt would be flipped, because I know the grunt can't. For me, at least, I know the grunt can't fight back, and I would kill the brute because I don't need that kind of competition.
Yes, that is top of the list.
Top being the operative word.
Well, and really, like again, Joel Dama, like one of my favorite Sangheili elites.
The Shipmaster?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jewel. Yeah, that's right. I always forget his name because all you ever hear him called is Shipmaster.
Yeah, so like he's another one where like given so much more in the books and really exemplifies what this species should be. So they're not only like this cool and respectable enemy, but then they start to become almost this character. Like, can we get them on our side? Because they're actually really like I almost hate to fight them in the games. It's as you grow in the lore of the universe, you almost start to feel bad. Whereas when you kill the grunts, you're feeling like you're doing the universe a favor.
Exactly.
Oh, you absolutely have to turn on the grunt birthday party skull.
Yeah.
Because any headshot, it's just a burst of confetti and a
yes.
Yay!
Yeah, it's amazing.
You've shown me that.
That's why you achieve things in the game to get those adjustments and
it's like they made you work for it.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Good night, my beautiful darling
Good night.
Andy.
So that was a lot of info dump, but basically, these are all things that come from piecing together this puzzle of lore, because nothing has the whole story. One thing I really love, but that does aggravate a lot of fans of the novels, is technically only the first game, and not even all of the first game, is the only game adapted. And so,
Really?
yeah, like they don't make books.
Not even Halo Reach.
Weird.
No,
Isn't it on
because
here?
the Halo Reach the book
and
came out before the game.
Like Halo the Fall of Reach is the first book.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Fall of Reach comes from the original Spartans and Master Chief's perspective. It's more of so the Fall of Reach in that book is the climax of that book. The rest of it's the backstory of Master Chief. In the game, I mean, at that point, Master Chief is the Master Chief. Like
the Master Chef. Yes.
Halo Reach the game. Yeah. Halo Reach the game follows a team of Spartan 3s.
With a Spartan 2. George is the bestest boy.
Right, with George.
George is the bestest boy.
Just make it count.
One
I'm
out for
sorry. I
George.
just...
Oh, God. Pouring out for the homie.
If I could equate that to something, I would like, all right, like 5s during, season 6 of Clone Wars. Like, he's that character, man, where it's just
moment for 5s, please.
Heartbreak. Anyway,
I named my dog after him. I named my dog after him.
Oh,
right.
no.
I have a plan to get a 5s tattoo somewhere on my body.
There you
Oh
go.
no! When after sacrificial death, the very next line about him is he always said he wouldn't leave Reach.
Yep.
Oh.
It was, and
Why? Why would you do that?
He was born and raised there.
Yeah. So the Spartan 2s, again, they were kidnapped, brought there. They were
flash cloned, so their flash clones would die, so they wouldn't be missed.
Yes.
And then they were put through all these horrible training experiments and stuff until they became perfect soldiers.
So
I don't like this video.
The Spartans you grew up the Spartans you grew up with were your family. Halsey was your mother. Reach was your home.
Yeah.
Like all of that. And
Master Chef was your daddy.
George got to live the dream. He got to be on Reach, I think, more than most, because again, you would take these missions, you'd go, maybe you'd come back. And so much time passes from the origins of Master Chief to the game Halo Reach that it's a whole new batch of Spartans and everything. And so you're experiencing the fall of Reach from that one team's perspective. The book is about the whole thing, how the whole planet goes down, because that's what the Covenant would do. Is, I mean, it was literally when something was sacrilegious, when they would come upon the demons of humanity, and they couldn't qualm them, they would glass the planet. They would blast it until it was glass.
It was plasma bombardments.
It was insane. And so that's the fall of Reach. That's what happens to Reach, although something survives. So but that's another thing, because I love the post first game, so like First Strike, the things that happen sort of in that space really build the world, because you would be led to believe when you start up Halo 2, that's it, you beat the first game and boom, here you are into the procession. There's so much more that happens after that, because guess what, we just realized there's universe ending weapons just floating around in space. That's what the Halo is. Like, it's genocide weapons.
And I'd like to point out, for those of you who are, listening audio form,
if anyone is still listening,
stay with us, I promise. This is all just mostly the games. We're not even talking about thousands of years of lore that happens before this. And we don't have time to get into the flood.
Again, I'm fighting down everything I have in me.
I know, and I'm so proud of you.
So
I'm not. Never.
The fact of the matter is, we'll never get into everything, and that that's the big thing. That's and you've hit it on the head, Kev. That's the beauty of what this is, and why it still exists 21 years later. Is it's because it's built such a universe of interesting lore, games, books, all of these things that you can experience one way or the other. If you like sci-fi stories, if you like first-person shooters, if you like anime, and so that being, if you want to dive in any short form, easily digestible way, watch Halo Legends.
Exactly. And this may either entice or dissuade people, but it is if I could make a 1-to-1 comparison, it is the Dune of video game franchises. There is so much.
That's fair.
Good pull.
Is deep.
Yeah.
Dune. It
I'm
is
sorry.
the-
I can't.
Series
I
EC
could
and
not do
Worm.
it. Oh,
Well, and again, and that's like looking back, and if you go back to the first game, which is harder and harder to do. Thankfully, the Master Chief Collection does exist, but so much of this comes retroactively. I mean, and it's the same thing. Again, it doesn't have to be that all of the plan and plot was to launch this 21-year plus adventure. Like, it's still just as magical whether they meant to do it or not, because Star Wars, it's the same thing. Whether George knew what would come after and what lore of his own he'd have to respect, when he's like, oh yeah, that's just, Devil Man, and that's just Hammerhead. Like, that's those characters' names now forever. Like,
and moreover, man, like, think about how many video games have gone into that kind of expansive territory, right? It's a pretty well. I mean, like, that's a good poll. Legend of Zelda. Does it have a movie yet? Does it have a series
and
yet?
Because that is going to be impossible to make a movie out of.
Exactly. Right. Like, I mean,
except the one pitch that was made where Tom Holland plays literally every character in Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
Down.
Yes.
Or like,
as long as his only line is
yes. Yes.
You know what? I want it to be the Wind Waker Link.
Oh yeah, the super
God.
expressive cute. Yeah.
Or, but I mean, like, look about it. Like, I mean, you got Mortal Kombat that's expanded into films and all kinds of stuff like that. You got Street Fighter, which had a couple films. The one in the 90s was peak.
You can do this, please. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Mario Brothers. I mean, that's got.
We don't talk.
Chris Pratt going into that one.
Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah. I mean, so like the fact that Halo is in that rarefied air again of being like all over the place. It has many different things you can get into. That is special.
Yeah,
It is incredibly special because that's not many things that started out as a video game break into that territory.
No.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's just like it's not one of those things where beat you over the head until you experience the original. Like, if I found out someone was like, I've heard of Star Wars, I've never really sat down and watched something, I wouldn't necessarily like force the first recommendation to be watch episode 4, watch A New Hope.
Right.
Like, there's so many avenues now of getting into Star Wars that it would be a plethora of questions of like, do you prefer to watch long form? Would you maybe do better with a show, 22 minutes? Would you like to read? And it's one of those things where it's like there's recommendations for every level. And with Halo, it's the same thing of like looking at the original game. No, you couldn't have predicted it would be what it is, where it is now, but it is. And the cool thing is, depending on if you want to get into it, there's something for you.
Precisely.
And so it's not in one box. And I think that's what's so awesome about it. And that's why I say there's something for everybody. And at the end of the day, by stepping in any direction you go with, whether it's the books, the comics, whether it's the anime, whether it's a movie or a series, whatever way you step into it, you're into it. And that's I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's no barrier for entry.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the reasons why I like to recommend, because almost everybody watches something. Okay. So if you want to sit and watch something, maybe you're not a video game player, Star Wars Legends, Halo Legends, is really good for that, because it's got bite-sized, anime, inspired, shorts that have the story. Like, if you want to know what happens leading up to the games everybody talks about, there's one for that. If you want one where it's just like, I want to know more about the Spartans, there's one for that. I want to know more about the aliens, there's one for that.
Talk about the one about armor.
Do you want to know why there's a boy in a box?
That's one of my favorites, though.
It was good, but yeah.
Well, and it's the Star Wars visions of Halo. There's ones that they fit like a glove, and then there's others where it's
they took some liberties. Exactly. But they all can get you there where it's just like, oh, that's a Halo.
and then the world is your oyster of Halo media, because I mean there's at this point nearly, I think there's like almost 18 books in total. They're still making books and releasing books almost yearly, almost some twice a year. There's all kinds of stuff. If you're a ship nerd, there's a book all about that, all about the weapons and ships of Halo. Like
Mac cannons. I want one.
so much stuff. So much. Oh my gosh. Like a ship that is literally a gun.
Yeah,
Imagine a
an
Glock
A10
flying
Warthog.
through space.
I do. His name is Megatron.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, like Halo is just really, really cool. And like that was the whole thing of just like back and forth on, do we really do an episode on that?
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And like,
listen, you guys' knowledge is incredibly impressive. And if Brad did not have a child and if I was not married to you, I would be making virgin jokes the entire time. But you know what, Kev, if we gang up on them, we can take their lunch money.
Oh,
I'm sure we could wrestle them into a locker if we found one.
Put one of you on the other one's shoulders.
I know the exact
Exactly.
spot to rub on Brad's forehead to put him to sleep. It's don't worry, I got it.
Same.
Right about here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also Kev
Yeah.
has like inches of intimidation that make me
That
very
is
compliant.
The best thing that you've ever said that I cannot expand upon with a joke, and how dare you?
Yes. Yeah.
Inches of
No one will ever know what
intimidation.
that means, but
Nope.
use your imagination.
Brad, go pick a switch.
So
The old sugar in the gas tank.
yeah, really, it is what it is. It's just a geek out and celebration of Halo, and trying to convince can convince you that it's interesting. It's something worth checking out. It's still alive and thriving in its own ways. I mean, like Star Wars is everywhere, so it's easy to think that it's not as big as those things, but in the Halo circles, it's still very, very, very relevant. Again, books are still constantly coming out. Just had a new game. Like things are happening with Halo, and so the door is still open to check out this interesting sci-fi world of lore.
Sci-fi horror shooter.
Yeah,
I call it a horror shooter.
it's a little bit of like it's a lot. It's a lot of genres wrapped up in one militaristic green armor.
Yeah.
And dude, for my part, I can't wait for season 2 on Paramount Plus. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I want to see where they're
And-
going with it.
And can I just give one little factoid?
Please.
The reason the Gravemind in Halo 2 and 3, the reason why he speaks in rhymes is because this is the same Gravemind who has the knowledge of the Forerunners. And when the flood devoured the Forerunners, they were philosophers and poets. So he, using the Forerunners' knowledge, he speaks in rhymes and poetry.
We didn't even really
go ahead and make that virgin joke.
we didn't even
I
get to
think you
talk
grew
much
back,
about that.
buddy. I'm sorry.
Not that right there.
There you go.
Bam.
There's your card. Like that's the thing is like you quickly in the first game go from humans versus aliens to humans versus aliens versus
It's
space
just survival.
parasite.
Yeah. I like how we were wrapping up the show and then we bring up the
Right.
flood and then we're going right back into it.
to human versus robot eyeball.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I hate
And so it's like even the first game, it does like again, it doesn't necessarily know all of the expanse that it's going to get into, but it introduces every major point that became expanded on later through more games and books and everything like that, like the flood, the thing that makes space zombies essentially.
Everything I know about the Forerunners and the flood is against my will.
Yes, because that was
should be.
because that was the majority of our Halo lore, because
Yeah.
there's just this period of time where it's just like the Adam and Eve alien and then the space parasite unleashed upon them, which is
Hot.
why the Halo genocide weapon exists.
By humans, technically.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Before we get started
so
again,
many interesting
Yeah.
things.
No. Yeah.
wrap it up.
So yes, okay, so right.
Part
So
2 coming.
anyway, but also the Gravemind is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. So
Yes.
there's your Star Wars.
Everything is voiced by D. Bradley
There's
Baker.
your Star Wars
Everything
connection.
worth listening to is at least.
Yes. And so for more Halo, if you're really curious, we did name drop it. They were recent episodes. You can check it out. If you want to get more of the pre-game story, I do my best to summarize it.
Yeah, if you want to hear me talk
'Cause
about my
there's a
favorite
lot.
video game franchise,
Yes, that
Yell at
exists
John.
as well. No, you talked about.
I did, but I want
You
to do
talked
it again.
about. Yeah. Well, yes. And I think it's due. It's due. And so, yeah, it's really interesting to go back to a series that started this NerdyVerse thing for us, where we talk about things not Star Wars, because Star Wars is the biggest thing I think we love mutually and so passionately, but there's all of these other things that exist alongside it, where it's like you never have to be just one thing.
Yeah.
You can have your favorites for sure, but
you're right,
like
dude. Your fandom is like Doritos, right? You might be like
Exactly.
really, really into Cool Ranch, but every once in a while, you want some spicy nacho, man.
Exactly.
You know?
exactly.
I should not go any further than that because I can relate everything back to Doritos.
Elder Scrolls is the purple bag, which is the best.
Mm.
I am HO.
I got to tell you, the whoever decided to put Flamin' Hot in the Cool Ranch, they deserve
They did that.
everything. Yes, they did.
I
It's
have not
magical.
seen this.
It is magical. It is
Interesting.
magical. Whoever did that deserves to be a billionaire and then deserves to be taxed like a billionaire.
Well,
Exactly.
I don't like
Tax the rich.
Doritos, but I do like Halo, and hopefully that has come across.
Yeah.
And
Sure
Pretty sure my virginity came back. Just listening to that.
just
You kind of
The
asked for that
episode, please,
one.
right
Anyway.
now.
You kind of asked for that one.
Do the Froce Loser boys have anything to promote anything?
Yeah.
Well, no, at the moment, no. We are
Right.
we are in the shop and we are retooling and getting ready for a relaunch probably early next year.
Okay, cool.
But
cool.
if
Yes.
you want more Halo talk, we did talk the Halo series. I cannot name drop the
No.
episode here
No.
because it's
Didn't happen.
This is a family friendly. No, the series. We did a show on the series. We talked about the
Oh,
series.
okay, that one. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, we talked about
No,
the
go back
series.
and find the one where Brad talks for 4 hours.
Oh yeah, that's like E3.
That was
like
4.5 hours and an entire bottle of Crown Royal.
Yeah, no, that's like way.
That's how you
deep.
do it.
That's way deep in the beginnings of the show. But if you do want to hear us talk about the Halo series, we do have an episode on that was pretty recent. Like I said, I can't name drop it here because it's a family friendly show, but it does exist. So yeah, there's that. And then we'll be back next year. We'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be retooled and revamped and ready to go.
Really
look
looking
forward to it.
Yes, looking
miss you
forward
guys.
Family
to
friendly.
Well, I
Froce
mean,
Losers
spoiler-
live.
Spoiler alert: you guys are probably going to be the first ones on.
That's fair.
Which you could actually
Mark the
mispronounce it and
calendars.
just be like the Force Losers live, and then it's a whole nother branding thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hire us
Um,
for PR.
So yes, looking forward to
No.
that. But so check out the backlog of Halo content from the Force Losers and anything else. I mean, you guys also talked. I think one of your last things was Ring of Power, right?
we got in.
Rings-
Did we get
Rings
into a
of
couple
Power?
episodes?
Yes.
I think
Yeah, I think
we touched on it at least.
Yeah, we haven't done a full recap yet. And I will not apologize for the person I become when I have to give that full recap. Because
Brad on the Halo episode.
I spoiler alert, I am smitten with that show. I have rewatched it thrice now.
Nice.
I'm absolutely in love with it. It is still conflicting because I very much hate Jeff Bezos. I mean, very like I want him to get a hangnail all the time. I don't like that man. So the fact that I
Just
love this
below
show,
Halsey.
yeah, no, like he's right there. So
he could become Halsey.
he
let's be
could,
honest.
he could. He's a Bond villain. He's one severe head injury away from doing it. Like I once thought that was Elon Musk, but now watching what he's doing with Twitter, I'm not worried about him so much. He's
not
pretty
smart
much
enough.
No,
yeah,
he's
he's
just
incompetent.
It's a 3-year-old throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah, he's incompetent. But Bezos does terrify me. That guy's a legitimate Bond villain. Do not let him fall down a flight of stairs.
There's a reason he's the inspiration for the villain of Transformers 4, The Age of Extinction. Like,
Yeah,
they're one expensive purchase away from owning the thing that will kill us all.
They could be Stanley Tucci.
And look, so I mean, like I hate the man, but I love Rings of Power, so I'm in a constant state of conflict. But yeah, when we do get to that show, I'm gonna go off the damn chain.
It's gonna be awesome. Fine. Kev will achieve his final form.
Yeah, raving lunatic.
Oh,
the best
man in the woods.
And so, as mentioned, for us, we are on break next week for the holiday. And so, which, you know what, that's a great time to say we are thankful for anyone who puts up with this mess. And especially I'm thankful for you. I'm also thankful for you. Yes.
Yeah. Just a big kiss to your big bald foreheads.
I'm especially thankful to our financially illiterate and irresponsible patrons.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Thank you, but also do better.
Reevaluate some things, man.
Susan Norman.
But also don't, because you pay for our StreamYard. So, but thank you for that, because that allows us to have these fun conversations with the boys and so many others. And we will be back with I want to say round table, but that's the wrong. We will be back with a fellowship soon to be to dive into the Lord of the Rings episode. So we'll be doing a film/book.
Yes.
And we've got quite the repertoire of guests joining us each time, and I'm really excited for that. It's going to be big each time, and I need those episodes. I really liked it. The spoiler alert, I really liked it. I'm really eager to talk about it, and with life being lifey, like I need those goal posts of like, all right, we're going to be hanging out talking about this week. Like, I'm so ready.
Get ready to hear a lot of stories about mine and my brother's childhood, because that's going to happen.
Awesome.
Yeah. One of the brothers will even be there.
Exactly.
So it'll be awesome. So next week's a great time. Check out the Froce Losers. Check out any of our old episodes, but don't go too far back. It gets very cringy.
Please, God, don't.
So, but enjoy your own holidays, however you celebrate. We don't eat no turkey. We boil a crab. So do Thanksgiving your way and enjoy the break and holiday.
Hail Mothman.
Hail Mothman. And wait, no, I want to say stay scruffy. What do we do? Stay kidnapping children and turning them into super soldiers.
Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.